International Quickies here. Today, I'll be discussing the American comedy film Billy Madison. Warning, spoilers ahead, so proceed with caution. The film follows Billy Madison, a 27-year-old spoiled man-child who spends his days drinking, playing pranks with his friends, and flipping through nude magazines for hours. Despite his age, he remains as immature as he was in middle school, much to his father Brian's frustration. Brian, the founder of one of the largest restaurant chains in the U.S., always intended to pass his fortune to Billy. However, due to Billy's irresponsible lifestyle, Brian starts to doubt his son's suitability. During a dinner with his business partners, including the company's executive vice president Eric and operations manager Carl, both of whom are close to Brian and involved in major company decisions, Brian attempts to announce his retirement. Billy's constant interruptions, coupled with Eric's deliberate efforts to keep Billy childish, through mocking and provoking him to respond with gibberish, lead to Brian finally expelling him from the dinner. Subsequently, Billy heads out with his friends to a fast food joint where they engage in typical childish antics and pranks on older people. Later, Eric compiles a list of Billy's immature behaviors to convince Brian that he isn't fit to run the business, while Carl maintains that there might still be hope for Billy. However, Eric's true motive is to secure his own promotion to president by eliminating his main rival. That evening, Brian summons Billy to his study and drops a bombshell. He has decided to hand the business over to Eric, who he believes is far more capable. Billy is shocked his father has never denied him anything, let alone the family business. He argues that Eric is cruel and unfeeling, but Brian remains resolute. Brian even reveals that during Billy's high school days, he had bribed teachers to pass him, a practice that started as early as the second grade when Billy misspelled back as BAK and still managed to pass. With no high school diploma to his name, Billy seemingly stands no chance. In a desperate bid to prove himself, Billy proposes a deal. He will study each grade level for 2 weeks and pass, and if he succeeds, his father will acknowledge his worthiness by handing over the company. If he fails, Eric will become president. Brian agrees, making arrangements to enroll Billy in first grade. The next day, after the housemaid Juanita packs him a lunchbox, Billy waits for his school bus, which eventually passes him by. When he finally arrives at school with his father, the first person he encounters is third grade teacher Veronica, who instantly dislikes him for being the typical rich kid. Nevertheless, Billy quickly bonds with his new classmates, fitting in effortlessly with their activities like storytelling, dodgeball, nap time, and everyday first grade routines. Even when a mother flirts with him while picking up her child who later reveals that Billy is actually his classmate, the experience is all part of his surprisingly enjoyable 2-week adventure. During this time, he becomes a favorite of his teacher, Miss Lippy, despite minor mishaps like accidentally eating glue, engaging in video game squabbles, and struggling with the children's urinals. After drawing a blue duck on a test, Billy passes first grade and throws a massive graduation party complete with a piñata filled with Rolex watches and luxury chocolates. His father, initially skeptical, is taken aback by the success, though Eric is far from pleased, even going so far as to have the school janitor monitor Billy. Second grade proves more challenging, particularly due to spelling tests. Billy faces a spelling bee against a little girl and wins by correctly spelling couch, leading to another party, this one even larger than the first, featuring water slides and a lively gathering of friends. Meanwhile, Eric is scheming at the party, intent on setting Billy up for failure. In third grade, Veronica, who now becomes his teacher, continues to pick on him. Yet, Billy is determined to win her approval. He deliberately causes mischief in class just to get her attention. After she catches him doodling half-naked girls in his notebook and forces him to write in cursive on the board where he stumbles on the letter Z and faces public humiliation, Billy explodes in anger and rushes home. The next morning, he feigns illness to avoid school, but Juanita reminds him of the chore awaiting him if he stays home. Reluctantly, Billy returns to school, only to learn that Veronica is out sick and that Mr. Anderson, the principal, is substituting. During recess on Valentine's Day, Billy receives cards and becomes the center of attention among his peers. Later, while hanging out with his third-grade friend Ernie at his house, Billy misses Veronica and asks Ernie to call her. However, when Ernie casually inquires if Veronica would date anyone from their class, she dismissively calls Billy immature and ends the conversation. The following day, on a school field trip, Billy is dared by some classmates to touch Veronica's chest. Accepting the dare with gusto, he pretends to fall onto her, only to be playfully chided by her in front of the laughing kids. After apologizing, he notices Ernie alone and discovers that his friend has wet his pants. To console him, Billy also pretends to wet himself, declaring that peeing your pants is cool, a move that inspires all the children to follow suit. This act of camaraderie wins Veronica's approval. Soon after, Billy hosts an enormous third-grade graduation party at a park set up in front of his mansion, where Veronica even gifts him snack packs. During the party, as he and Veronica tour the grounds and share a near-kiss in a tent, Carl interrupts to warn Billy about Eric's scheming. Taking the warning seriously, Billy dedicates himself to studying and successfully passes the next 4 grades with ease. Although he begins to miss Veronica, he clings to memories by kissing her picture during lunch breaks, even as his busy schedule with advancing grades limits his time with his cherished third-grade friends. When he finally reaches the 8th grade, he throws yet another party to celebrate his entry into high school. At this celebration, Principal Anderson meets privately with Eric, who reveals incriminating details about Anderson's past as a wrestler, details that, if publicized, could cost Anderson his job. Eric uses this information to blackmail Anderson into falsely spreading a rumor that Billy had bribed him to pass his tests. With no other option, Anderson complies. On Billy's first day of high school, he is shocked to find that, unlike his past popularity, no one pays attention to him. His attempts at humor during chemistry class fall flat, and he is even directly rejected by a girl who dismisses him as a loser. After an incident where one of the cool kids dumps curry on his head, Billy, missing his third-grade buddies, seeks them out during recess. When they ask about high school, he fabricates stories of kindness and fun, only to later realize at home that his former popularity was built on bullying introverted kids. In a moment of remorse, he calls one such kid, Danny, to apologize, and while Danny forgives him over the phone, he secretly removes Billy from his people to kill list. Later that day, Principal Anderson publicly announces that Billy had bribed him to pass tests, a revelation that devastates Brian, who then hands the company over to Eric, dismissing Billy's protests. Broken, Billy reverts to his old lifestyle of partying and pranks. However, Veronica, aware of his genuine effort and hard work, one day picks him up and physically confronts him to motivate him to persevere. Meanwhile, Billy's third-grade friends stage a protest outside the principal's house, pressuring Anderson to confess the truth about Billy's grades and the lies. Upon learning the truth, Brian is willing to give Billy another chance at high school, but Eric counters by arguing that since Billy didn't complete the 9th grade in 2 weeks, he isn't eligible to run the company. When Brian refuses to back Eric, Eric threatens legal action. In response, Billy challenges Eric to an academic decathlon, with the winner earning the right to take over the family business. The competition unfolds over Friday at school. While Eric excels in the math test, Billy shines in the pie cooking contest. Both win some rounds and lose others, but ultimately, Billy leads by a single point. The next day, during the final round in the auditorium, Billy stumbles with an idiotic answer about the Industrial Revolution, while Eric, questioned on business ethics, finds himself unable to respond. Realizing he is about to lose, Eric brandishes a revolver with the intent to shoot Billy. Just then, Principal Anderson, clad in wrestling gear, tackles Eric. After recovering, Eric attempts to shoot Veronica but is stopped when Danny, whom Billy had apologized to earlier, shoots him. In the film's final scenes, Billy is at his graduation ceremony where he announces his plan to hand over his father's business to Carl, whom he deems more deserving, and reveals his intention to attend college to pursue a teaching career. As the celebration unfolds, Eric limps away on crutches, while everyone else celebrates. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel.